asking why I have it on cinematic. It's because, my lighting in my room is shit. Alright, let's get down to the nitty gritty. You're here because you have crippling bad habits, right? Whether that's beating off the jackhammer, whether that's sleeping late, whether that's scrolling on social media like a subhuman, you're here because you have bad habits and you want to break them. I'm here to tell you how. Alright. Step 1. Your identity is what shapes your day-to-day routine you currently have today. It is the cornerstone to the way your life is, the current moment, as you're watching this video. So everything you do from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed is because simply of your habits. Habits backed up essentially by your identity. Basically, you do the things that you do because that's who you believe that you are. You masturbate because you think that you're a masturbator. You scroll on social media because over time you've cultivated the habits, and then the identity has followed. But there is also a false sense of identity. That identity is called your ego. The first step to breaking a bad habit, in my opinion, is deconstructing your ego. Why? Because your ego right now is probably the worst possible enemy you have at the current moment. Because on one hand, your ego can make you think you can do more than what you actually can, but on the other hand, it can make you think you can do much, much less. It is the worst possible enemy to any progress or even happiness you would like to create in the long run. So, now that we know this, what do we do with this further information? In breaking a bad habit, your ego... So on one hand, your ego can make you think that you can't do something, but on the other hand, it can make you think you can do it in a delusional amount of time. So for porn and masturbation, your ego can make you believe that you can go 90 days straight on nofap when you can't even last a week on nofap. Or you can make 90 days, and if you don't make 90 days, which to be honest, I'm going to tell you exactly, and you do relapse, then all your progress is lost and you should just quit. But like we stated before, your ego is not who you are. Your identity is not who you are at the current moment, because that changes. Changes based on the cultivation of step 2. What is step 2? There's one thing I realized about bad habits, and that there's always a certain mood, environment that always puts you in said mental state to do bad habit. So for me, when I used to watch, the corn, I realized that more or so over, I would either be bored or lonely or a mix of both. Same thing for scrolling on social media or even scrolling on like apps. I usually wasn't in a good headspace. Just think about it. Like, if you're fresh out of meditation, you're not just gonna go and, oh yeah, YouTube Shorts, if you were a happy and healthy person, truly, you wouldn't do half the habits you're doing right now. Food for thought. So I broke down first step. I first down the second step. What is the third step? How do we actually get to changing our habits and cultivating them into good habits? What is the key that you clicked on this video to hear? The one thing that can really skyrocket your self-improvement journey. It is the changing of your identity. Like I said before, your sense of self it shapes the current reality that you're in at this current moment right now. It is the exact reason why your life is the way that it is. It is not your mom's fault. It is not your dad's fault. It is not your dog's fault. It's not your teacher's fault. It is all your fault. Before any of this video can make sense to you, you have to realize that your life is in your hands to an extent, but for the most part, like waking up, the habits you do, that is entirely your fault. Your shitty job you have, you're broke, you're lonely, you have low self-esteem, that is entirely your fault. Destroy the victim mindset and accept that. Once you have, pause the video, go accept that, and come right back. If you are satisfied with your reality 100%, then you click off the video. Because I'm only doing this people that have a problem with it. If you don't have a problem with it, you can click off. But let's be honest, if you're watching me, like most of us, you are not satisfied. So I would like you to pull out a piece of paper or your notes and do this exercise. Do it. Let's go. Pull out your notes. You don't got paper, it's fine. I know you don't got paper. You know, you haven't been in school like years, or you're in school, but you just don't feel like getting it. It's fine. Go pull out a piece of paper. Why is my computer doing this right now? Now take a moment to think about what you want your life to be like. I want you to close your eyes. If you can't do it alone, just close your eyes. Imagine your future wife or future husband if you're a female watching this. How much money would you like to make? Now, if you can't see yourself making the money, close your eyes. Like I said, close your eyes, visualize it, and then write it down. I'll show you guys what I have currently written down in a moment. What type of car would you like to have? Write that down as well. Even write down what type of pet you like to have. What type of car? What type of house? And don't just think about a car. How does the car smell? What color is the car? You know, what car is it? Is it a specific car? What type of house is it? Where is it at? Is it in the city? Is it in the hill? Think about these things. Really envision this stuff. And once you do, open your eyes. Now, once you've written down your dream life, what you want your life to be like, you now have a clear shape of what you want out of life. Now, I should have said this. If you fill up your whole page with it, turn it over, but if it's like on one side of the page, you can do it on the other side. I want you to write down all of the habits you have right now at the current moment. So what do you do from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep? Now, I want you to look at your habits and then look at the person you would like to become, or the lifestyle, your dream car, the whatever. I forgot the joke, but now that we have these two, I want you to look at the habits you're doing and then look at the person you'd like to become and ask if it correlates. If the answer is no, then you need to start cultivating the identity that you wish to become. So I'm gonna get this out the way now. Most people, when they want to change themselves, they start with their habits. So if I want to stop watching porn and masturbation, if I want to stop watching porn and masturbation, then I'm just gonna restrain from it, which that does work in some cases. But you're human, and you're in a society like this where sex is all over the place. You will relapse again. The only difference I would say between the person who tries and the person that does is the identity. Like I said before, it's a big thing in this video. It's very key to understand that you're not trying to become the person you are already that person. Because once you cultivate the identity of that person, ironically, the gears start to shift. So for me, the reason why it's more so easier to eat healthy and have like a more balanced diet is because I look at myself as more so a healthy person, happy person. A healthy, happy person would think twice about doing a bad habit. More so over, a healthy, happy person would not beat themselves up for doing said habit. Because that's another thing too about when you are the person, like if someone doesn't drink and they drink, they're not gonna spend the rest of the night beating themselves up because they drunk. Only if they were trying to convince themselves that they simply don't drink. And also like that, I don't like say you're something and then expect your brain to follow. Because there was a important quote by James Clear. He said, behavior that is incongruent with the self will not last. So you have to be all in or not. This is not how it works. It's not just, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You can't say you don't drink and then still encourage or hang out with people that still do it. Because your brain has cultivated this identity for almost 10, 15, 20 years of someone who does bad habits. And you're going to tell it, yeah, now we're not doing this anymore. We're doing this. That doesn't make sense. You have to show it time and time again, constantly being tested. You need to show your brain like, no, this is the identity that we want to cultivate. And then you're probably like, okay, so do I essentially just go full turkey? Like, do we just read for 10 hours, do all those things? No, because like I said, your brain is not used to this stuff. So it's going to be impossible for you to start unless you do what I like to call the inverse of operations. This time, you probably heard it in math, like, multiplication, division, like basically what you're doing is you're doing the reverse of the bad habits. So let's be honest. You didn't always start as a porn addict like me. You was young and whatever. It started off as curiosity, and that led to one thing and one thing another, and then you got your first ever dopamine hit, and you never look back. You're in the trenches now, brother. it's very important to realize you would never break your bad habits going cold turkey. Because like I said before, thinking that you can break your thinking you could break your bad habits going cold turkey, or thinking that you can break your bad habits, go cold turkey, or thinking that you can never break your bad habits is a factor of the ego. Like I said before. The key is to gradually implement these skills over and over again. So, if you want to become a reader or you want to go to bed early, start small, right? Now, for going to bed early, I would say that you don't really need to start small, because then you get into like complacency. But that's another video for another day. But for something like reading, if you can't read a chapter a day, or you haven't read a book in years, or you can barely even focus on this video for longer than 10 seconds without scrolling to the comments or going to see what other videos are available, then you definitely cannot read a chapter a day. I mean, yeah, basically, some of you actually dead ass can't read a chapter a day. What you need to do is start reading a couple pages a day, 3 pages a day, 4 pages a day, 5 pages a day. You know, if you want to be this David Goggins, know me son, and just do hour workouts, I mean, it'll work for a certain amount of time, but then you'll wake up and then you'll be groggy and then you'll be sore, and then you're going to tell yourself, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow will come, it'll be next week, and then it'll be next month. And then you'll never start. You'll never be consistent. Right? So it's very, very important to also know this. You have to start small. That's why I say you have to deconstruct your ego, because the things that are going to help you are going to be so beneath you that you're going to think you don't need to do them. It's not necessary. Like for me, how I got into working out was simply just doing 10 push-ups. When I first heard this, I was like, why 10 push-ups? That's so easy. But that's the beauty of it. It's 10 push-ups. So you can't really not be consistent with 10 push-ups, because then you're going to be telling yourself like, I can't do 10 push-ups. Like, what the fuck? Like, that doesn't make sense. Or like meditation. Like 3 deep breaths every day. Or you can download Medito. It's like a meditation app. It has like multiple stages of meditation. Shout out Stinky Bathroom Man. But you could download that, and then you could just start with that. Like for cold showers, for me, I didn't just go into the cold shower like, yeah, like first thing. Like, no, like I started off with 10 seconds, and then it got to a point where gradually I just started increasing it. You have to do the inverse. So just like how you got addicted to porn or video games and masturbation, you have to do the exact opposite. And then over time, your brain's going to realize, oh shit, like this is what we do. We don't do this anymore. So, yeah, I think that's really it. I think that's really all I have to say. But if I had to leave out with a quote, I would say this. I would say, don't change the inside by going for the outside, because it'll never work. You have to change this first. And where does this start, my friends? The identity. Thanks for coming to class. Class is dismissed, and I'll see you soon. You got this, man. Yes, sir.